My name is Samba Faal and I'm the mayor of Banjul, the capital city of the Gambia. I think it is very important for people to come on board, especially mayors of cities, and join the campaign because everything starts at the city. Everything starts at the local community and we are closer to the people and we have a role to play. When you talk about governance, you talk about participation. And when you talk about participation, you talk about the people being involved in deciding their fate. And the center cannot do that because the people and the center are too far apart. So we are closest to the people. We know what their problems are. And we have to have the dialogue and this partnership. So when it comes to disaster risk reduction, you cannot implement it without partnership. And you cannot implement it without participation. Banjul is one of the smallest cities in the whole world, and it is an island city. And we have a population of 35,000. It's very small, but then every day we receive almost 400,000 out of a population of the whole country of 1.5 million. And we are faced with, it is 0.5 meters below sea level. So any rise in sea level could flood the whole city. And of course, since we are a coastal city, the erosion of the sea is also a major problem. And our main foreign exchange is tourism. And if the sea or the beaches are gone, of course tourism brings in money, but what about the lives of the people, of the inhabitants? One interesting feature about Banjul is that it is 2/3 of Banjul is wetland, only 1/3 is dryland, and the wetland comprises of mangroves, and the mangroves are the breeding grounds for the fish and the flora and the fauna. So we are very, very protective of that, and that also acts as a defense against flooding. So we are very particular about that, and that is why at the beginning or before the rains, we normally do the cleaning of all the drains, rehabilitate some of the drains, and then build new drains, and then expand the canals, and then also deepen the canals, so that when there is heavy rain, the water will be able to flow. And also when there is high rise in the sea level, the water will be able to come in and then move out. If there is any blockage, then definitely we are prone to real big disasters. And that is why we also have very strict physical planning rules and regulations to make sure that buildings are not built on waterways and so forth. Mm-hmm. Our disaster risk budget is part of the environmental sanitation budget because we see disaster risk as an environmental problem. So it is within that area. And normally, let's say 60% of our budget is for development. We have an integrated program which includes disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. Those two are integrated, and it is one composite body, and we put in all the shareholders together, and we form a committee, and the committee is pyramidal in structure. You have committees at the level of the wards. Banjul is divided into 9 wards, and in every ward you have a development committee, and that development committee is answerable to the constituency committee, and the constituency committee is answerable to the regional committee. And you have all the stakeholders, and the regional committee, which is the Banjul Disaster Management Committee or the municipal committee, is answerable to the national municipal committee. So all the stakeholders are involved: the police, civil society organization, the fire, the health, youth groups, women groups, all major stakeholders are involved. So when there is any disaster, everybody comes on board. I think in every society, the poor, women, the children and the poor are the most vulnerable. Because if you are poor, you will not be able to have a defensive mechanism to take care of yourself. And in international forums, when they talk about poverty, they think in terms of the rural areas. But the urban poor are more vulnerable because they don't have any farms, they don't have any source of income. Like in the villages, you have the farms, you have some other things, but in the urban poor, in the urban area, you don't have that. You depend on jobs that are not available in the city, and then you depend on others. What we plan to do is to have advocacy groups. Like we would invite the youth through the municipal disaster committee. We have a youth representative, and then they would go to the youth groups and then pass on the information to them. Then we have the women group, and the representative of the women group will organize the other women groups and then pass the information on to them. Or sometimes we will organize seminars. And then when we organize these seminars, we have resource persons from the National Disaster Management Agency and from some of the other stakeholders like the Red Cross, fire services and so forth, and they would be resource persons, and they would teach them on disaster risk, mitigation, climate change, mitigation and adaptation. Now we are in a different world. The climate has changed. Look at the Antarctica. Look at places where it used to be very, very cold. Now it's very, very warm. And even in our own country, the climate pattern has changed. The days or the months that we used to have rains have now changed. And the rains have also changed their patterns. Now we have heavier rains than before and longer rains. In local parlance or in everyday language, we keep saying that prevention is better than cure. You don't have to wait until you are very, very sick to go to the hospital to see the doctor. You may end up in the grave. So what you do is to make or take some preventive measures.